Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I'm sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner, with his cat. What was that? T'Challa Misty. That's Misty. Misty. Misty is one of his oldest cats. She keeps him in line. I have to get on the phone with Misty every once in a while and tell her, snatch a knot in him. And she's like, anyway, the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Like I said, big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Also, I'd like to say a big thank you to my moderators for all the wonderful jobs that you do in holding down the comment section. It is much appreciated. So today we're going to be talking about Trump proves he's the greatest showman on earth, I should say, by using the Somalis as a distraction. So I'm going to tell you why I said that. I'm going to show you a video and some other things. We'll have a conversation about that. I know that this is a hot topic. And as I've said, and I'm going to stand on the side of that, I believe that especially we as Black Americans, it's not just my belief that we are always distracted, but I'm always going to bring it full circle back to us as Black Americans and what we need to do. But I found this particular video that I'm going to show you to be very interesting. When I saw it early this morning, I said, there it is in a nutshell. And, you know, we're going to point that out. Of course, I know we're going to have a spirited conversation here. You know what? That's okay. I got plenty of rest. I did not get out of bed until 9:30 this morning. I was reading, but that's the last. Can't remember the last time, Donovan, I stayed in bed that long. It's been a long time. Anyway, I'm going to get to the comment section in just a second. But Donovan, how are you doing this fine evening, afternoon?
All right. Good afternoon. It's 3 p.m. That means it's the Demetra K Show. I am doing fine, except that when in the wintertime, these cats and dogs just love to be all up around me. I can't get any sleep at night because they jump in the bed and they want to sleep near me. And Misty, being the 17-year-old that she is always constantly on me. So anyway, do us a favor, you guys. We have a scrolling banner at the bottom. If you guys want to donate to continue to have these great conversations, there's ways you guys can contribute. And for those of you guys that have contributed all these years and have rocked with us all these years, we thank you and we appreciate you guys so much. You could donate Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, Cash Money Order, however you guys want to do it. Also in the chat, if you guys look, I put a link up to the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get that on Google Play, Apple Store. And that way you can get great videos from Demetra K, Phil Scott, Juan Gale, Dickie Dillard, and the rest of the contributors to the African Diaspora News Channel app. Again, we keep talking about, oh, we got to do this and we got to do that. Where's the Black this? Where's the Black that? Here is a Black-owned app. I think it's a great Christmas gift. We're in the Christmas season. Graduation gift, the greatest gift you can give anybody is the knowledge and the knowledge of self. So African Diaspora News Channel app, you can get it on Google Play, Apple Store.
All right, now we're going to get into it. Turn on, how you doing? Hello to everybody. Molly Case, what's going on with you? Al, what's going on? It says, I want Donovan's opinion on Chris Paul situation real quick. I will get that at the end. And Donovan, do you even know anything about the Chris Paul situation at all? Okay, so you got 30 seconds.
I'll get them in the chat. I'll respond in the chat.
Awesome, thank you. Easy in the building. I hope that you're doing well. And Corey, what's going on with you? All right, so let's get into it for the second time. So of course, you guys know, okay, you cannot go anywhere and not see the conversation about the Somali community in Minnesota, where it is alleged, and it sounds like it is true, that the Somalis, among some other things, have been guilty, or they've been accused of fraud. I guess there's an operation that took place where it said that a organization called Feeding the Future somehow it swindled $250 million. It had shell companies, so fake companies per se, fraudulent invoices and things like that. Allegedly, they were feeding children that did not exist, right? It was kind of like an organization for children. Says that 70 people, from what I see of this one, was charged. Many of them were Somalis, right? Now, also there, I guess there's another fraud, housing fraud, autism fraud. I guess these are organizations and things like that. Now, it has been condemned by a lot of Somali leaders there in Minnesota. And the governor, Tim Walz, also said, and I saw him say it too, that, yeah, we're going to be holding people accountable no matter who they are, right? That's committing fraud and things like that. Now, I'm going to show y'all this video of President Trump last week sometime. He was at a news conference, I guess press conference at his office or somewhere, and a conversation about the Somalis came up. and Representative Ilhan Omar, who is a congresswoman from Minnesota. And this is what Trump said.
Which is barely a country. You know, they have no anything. They just run around killing each other. We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain and do nothing but, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it.
Okay, so let's remove that. Of course, that again was President Donald Trump calling Ilhan Omar and the Somalis garbage. He says rather that is hell where they came from or whatever it is. Of course, you guys know how the Somalis got over here. The first wave of them were refugees due to the civil war that was taking place in the early 1990s. If you know anything about Black Hawk Down, they made a movie out of it. That's partially of what happened. So under the refugee program, some of them were allowed to come over, and there was an organization or two in Minnesota that says, hey, send them over here because we have the money and the infrastructure and things like that to help them. So the first wave was over there. They got housing and jobs, and they got on their feet, and then they sent for more of their family members. And so that's how roughly, 80,000, I think, maybe 90,000 Somalis are there in Minnesota. So it's not like they left paradise, like he said, and just came over to America. Their government, for lack of better words, there in Mogadishu, was destabilized, and it is still destabilized to this day. They do not have policing, any type of political structure and things like that. It's just kind of like mayhem. So I just kind of want to give that some context because they didn't leave paradise per se. Okay. So then, as I said this morning, I was up on the internet and I saw Nick Fuentes. You guys know who he is. He's big time raging racist, right? He does not like most Black people. I don't like a lot of people, doesn't seem like, but he's not shy when it comes to talking about Black people. So I want to preface this by saying a broken clock is right at least twice a day. And I co-sign, I'll say most of the stuff he said because he makes a lot of allegations. So we'll say allegedly, but it was one thing that stood out to me the most. And I said, bingo. Here we go. And it's kind of sped up because it was a little bit long. So I sped it up just to shorten it a tiny bit. But here we go.
Unpopular maybe than ever. His favorability is in the toilet. His approval is in the toilet. Specifically, his approval on immigration and the economy is very bad. For the first time in years, voters actually favor Democrats on the economy over Republicans. People blame Trump for the state of the economy more than they blame Biden. Numbers polling his own base, polling Republicans, independents. Any way you cut it, it is catastrophically bad. And he has only himself to blame. Cutting Medicaid to pay for corporate tax cuts. Doge was a total failure. We're bombing Iran. Prices have not gone down and the economy has not recovered. The tariffs have been a complete disaster. Mounting signs all over the economy. We're in a real estate bubble. Consumer spending is slowing. The job market is frozen. They're not even releasing the jobs report in October. On top of all that, they didn't even release the Epstein files. It is a total disaster. That is why he's unpopular, and it's self-inflicted. It is because rather than keep his promises, all that this administration has done is enrich the people that are in it. Rampant, basically criminal levels of corruption in this government. The very people that Trump brought in to drain the swamp, they're looting DC, taking everything that isn't nailed down practically. They're stealing. They're corrupt. You know, why do you think they brought these people in? Someone like Howard Lutnick and David Sachs? They are criminals. Contrary to what the true believers, the plan trusters say, this is not actually the result of a political system that is so difficult to overcome. They can't do it in a matter of 5 years. They're not even trying. It is actually for a lack of trying. It's a joke. Kristi Noem is a joke. Kash Patel is a joke. Pete Hegseth is a joke. People allegedly are in there blackmailing him. Every person in this cabinet is a complete disaster. And the reason it's like this is because it's all patronage. Trump got in office to stay out of jail. He had to cut deals to get money. And now that he's in, he had to reward the donors by allowing them to pick the cabinet members, reward other people in the party with these patronage posts. And now this is what we're getting. Utter and complete catastrophe. There's no deportations. We hit the H-1B cap. We're in a war with Iran. We're going to go back very soon. It's just like one cataclysm after the next. It is in this context where Trump posts something like this. Poll numbers down, favorability down the tubes, economy sucks, all these wars are breaking out all over again, everybody's deeply unhappy. What do? Let it rip with the racism, let it rip with the let it rip with nativism. I know what'll get those stupid idiots back on my side. I'm gonna do a racist rant. I'm gonna go on Twitter and True Social and I'm gonna let it rip. And I'm gonna be obnoxious and belligerent, politically incorrect and brash and controversial. And I'm gonna say something so shocking, so edgy, so ridiculous that everyone is gonna be talking about this and not that. Everyone's gonna be talking about about how I called Tim Walz, or everyone's going to be talking about how I said this about Ilhan Omar. I'm going to pack 15 pounds of shit, 10-pound bag of controversy and rage bait and clip farming so that nobody's going to pay attention to the fact that we didn't even release the October jobs report because it was so bad. No one's paying attention to a war in Venezuela that nobody wants. Black Friday consumer trends being a disaster, the job market failing. No one pay any attention to the complete and utter disaster. Republicans might lose their majority in the House before the midterms because so many people are jumping ship. But don't look at that. Look at my racist rant. Look at my stupid little rant on True Social that I'm not actually going to do it about. I'm not going to follow through on any of it. That's the best part. It's not, I'm going to satisfy my base responding to their needs and demands. No, I am going to pander to my base as though I give it about what they want to distract them from how I'm betraying them in every other way.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. That was Nick Fuentes, and you know he's got a lot going on. I think at one point in time he was a Trump supporter, but then it sounds like he moved away from that. He's got a lot going on. I just don't want to get into all of it because, like I said, he's got a lot going on, but he made excellent points that, and I mean, y'all can, hey, listen, it ain't my words, it's his, but like I said, I agree with some of it, and that Trump basically is not delivering on his promises, especially to his base. He told them a whole host of things, and we know that people in his base are taking it in the yin yang. Y'all can fill in the blank with that, right? We know a lot of them are like, wait a minute now, Trump, we cool with the racism and stuff, but a lot of that is coming back to us, right? Of course, you follow the farmers, and a lot of them are not doing well. Of course, you hear Trump talking about he wants to buy Argentinian beef and not the beef here in America. And a whole host of things. And so to Nick's point, y'all heard all the stuff that he named. And then you got somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene who jumped ship, right? She's like, yeah, I'm not even going to run anymore. Of course, it sounds like, you know, they've threatened her and a whole host of things. But I saw that she did an interview, I think it was CBS Today or something like that, where she basically like everybody that's kissing Trump's behind now before he got into office when he was running, they were like, yeah, right, you know, talking bad about him and stuff. Well, she says that when he won the presidency, they put on the MAGA hat. I was like, okay. So anyway, but what he said about going on a racist rant and things like that, he's right. He did it because he knew that everybody will follow. And I don't care. We can get into it, fisticuffs. I'm ready. Like I said, I got a lot of sleep today. But he knows a lot of people ain't going to be up here with it. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, he's right. Because true indeed. And I want to thank one of the viewers here. I'll leave them anonymous. That sent me this, right? And I said, oh, okay. He basically said, well, let's, you know, really be logical here. This is the amount of immigrants that are in immigrants that are in America, 2.8 million, so almost 3 million. And then Somalis, they are, I don't know, roughly, what is that, 8, 9, or whatever it is on the list. There's a whole host of other people. Nigerians, the most in here. And on this list here, where it says America's 25.3 immigrants here, I don't know how, you know, basic average that number is, but I will just say, take it at his word. I don't see Somalis on here at all. Now, again, I'm just putting that up there for context, right? Because the way everybody
Somalia was third from the bottom.
Okay, so third from about, so 7, if it's 10 on there. So about, okay, so number 7. So they, in a sense, pale in comparison to most of the countries on there. And so I thank him for sending me that, because I think it's very telling that to Nick's point, everybody ran around here like a chicken with their head cut out. Somebody, listen, as I said in my video yesterday, I don't necessarily have a dog in the fight, not liking them 2 dogs. But, you know, because I get the whole anti-black stuff. Okay, I get all of that. They got to, you know, answer to that. But as far as us as Black Americans, as I always say, we're always chasing that bone. When they throw the bone, boop, we go chase after. There's been people ranting and raving all week long, all day long. Somalis, this, Somalis, that, Somalis, this, Somalis, that. It's like, to Nick's point, y'all took the bone and ran with it. Took the bone and ran with it. Now, what could we have been talking about as far as in Black America, right? The things that are important to us, the things that we need to work on, like group economics, not voting for these suckers, you know, time and time again. And we could be here forever talking about the things in Black America. But and I'm going to say many of us collectively, because even me talking about it now, you know, we took the bone and we ran with it. So I won't say too much. I'm going to get back in the comments after a minute. But Donovan, what say you about all of this?
Well, first of all, are you entertained? As I've been saying for a while now, since Donald Trump has got into office, I've told you guys many, many times that understand politics. When a president is in his second term, nothing matters. That's why he doesn't care what he says at this point. He can't run for re-election no matter what. Did you guys notice that while he was saying those insulting things, if you agree with him or not, notice when Donald Trump says certain controversial things, there are people in the room with him that co-sign on it with him. So Donald Trump is basically setting them up to fail as well, because not one of them corrected him or anything like that. So when I noticed he was doing that, I said, wow, look at all of the people that are in that office right now that are co-signing on the BS. And this is how a mafia don, if you watch the movie The Godfather, operates. You know, he brings everybody in to get their beaks wet. And they all are complicit in it, and they can't run from it. But when a president is in his second term, you cannot, it doesn't matter. All his promises don't mean anything. He's going to do what he wants to do. And if you guys have been paying attention, Donald Trump has been setting up his businesses for post-presidential life. He's cutting deals in Argentina and Venezuela and all these places and trying to pressure these people to give him favorable deals. We haven't heard one thing from Jared Kushner. Where in the world is Jared Kushner right now and doing those deals? Because remember that $2 billion deal he got as they left the White House the first time from the Saudis. This is the type of stuff that goes on. But see, you guys don't pay attention to this because you're too busy going to the party. You're too busy doing this. You're too busy trying to work and doing whatever you need to do to be distracted. And I'm not saying that makes you a bad person or whatever, but this is how the game has been played. Now, we're talking about the Somalis. For me, the Somalis is a very, very touchy subject for me, for the simple fact that when that Black Hawk Down thing was going down, I was literally at the airport on a C5 downloading equipment. So when that thing actually happened, and we called them skinnies in military jargon, they were called skinnies. So when you messed up a skinny, that's what you would say, you know, oh, we got the skinny, you know, the guy got killed or whatever the deal is. So it is a failed state. It is a fact that billions of dollars have been abused. And see, my problem is not with the Somali people. It's the fact that our tax dollars, so all you liberals out there, all you black liberals that voted for all this BS and the Kamala Harris and, you know, whatever, and you want to be Democratic no matter what, my problem with it is billions of dollars have been taken and sent back in rendering money back to their home country. And we have homeless Americans and single moms and kids that can't get food at schools and, you know, whatever else is going on being abused. That's my problem with it. I'm for helping people that need help, but when the system and my tax dollar gets abused, that's when I get upset. And again, all of a sudden now, I've watched copious videos of Somalians explaining to me why they're not black. They're more Arab than black. They're this, they're that, but they're not black. Then all of a sudden now Trump is on their ass. Now they're black. And see, they use that and they cosplay to get black people upset to stand up for them. But notice they won't let you in their communities. They do this, they do that, you know, and they're doing what they're going to do. But have you guys noticed that all of these groups, all of a sudden now they're black? If you watched Umar, what's her name? Ilhan Umar's conference in regards to what Donald Trump said, what's the first thing she alluded to? Black this, black that. And see how they try to group us into their situation? So I'm just going to say this, black people, continue to do what you've been doing and worry about your own. Let them solve their own problems. Somalia is a failed state. And what a lot of people, if you're not paying attention, what a lot of these Somalians that are here are doing is they're taking that money and they're buying property and stuff in Somalia and they're rebuilding Somalia. That is the overall game plan with American money. That's the problem. So I don't disagree with what Donald Trump said. It is a failed state. As somebody who was actually there, these people are very, and I don't understand this, Dimitra. Somalians do not recognize the Nation of Islam, and a lot of traditional Islam does not recognize the Nation of Islam. They kind of treat the Nation of Islam like the Christians treat Mormons. I'm not saying all of the Muslim nations, but show me where, when I was there and I would mention the Nation of Islam, these people had total disrespect for Minister Farrakhan and the NOI. And my understanding, if you're a Muslim, Christian, Jew, or whatever, you're not supposed to steal. Muslims above anybody else. You're not supposed to steal. And yet these people have formed a multi-million, trillion, billion-dollar operation right there in Minnesota. And somebody said in the chat, which is also a fact, they have said that the Bible has prophesied that Minnesota is supposed to be for them or whatever. Well, number one, if you're a Muslim, you don't ascribe to the Bible. And number two, the country was informed to be Minnesota. So how would they know that that is it's all a bunch of BS, you know? So again, these people and more people, Tim Walz, and a lot of, again, Democratic money laundering. By the way, if you guys have been following my channel, I've been talking about this for the last week, and I am showing once again, Black Lives Matter. How did they get all that money to buy homes and do all that other stuff? Funneled it through, our tax dollars was funneled through nonprofit charities. The Somalis are doing it. And here in California, the homeless issue, $20 billion is missing. This is the money laundering operation of the political machines. Both parties do it. It's just that Democrats do it on a larger scale. And it's a money laundering scheme. And guess what? Now that money goes there. American people and veterans get nothing. And these people sit up here and want to have us feel sorry for them. I'm sorry, I don't feel sorry for them, because this is not Somalia. When you're in Rome, you're supposed to do as the Romans, not the other way around.
Jacoby, thank you so much for that. You say they estimate at least $8 billion has been scammed out of Minnesota by Somali community, and also just breaking, they found another scam up in Maine. Apparently, they believe we don't fathers, and maybe a comment got jumbled up there a little bit, but thank you. Okay, so yes, it is a failed state, but I think we also, you know, since we're going to talk about it, I think you got to tell the whole story. Why is it a failed state? You know what I mean? It didn't get that way necessarily on its own, right? It's the same old United States government, you know, complicit in that or whatever. So I think we should just add the context to it. And I just seen a few people bringing the Nation of Islam into that. Why are people bringing the Nation of Islam into any of that? That, see, to me, that's it's like a little bit more division. I haven't heard the Nation of Islam say anything at all. But again, I don't hear everything the Nation of Islam says, although I did listen to the webcast today. I can't recall that, but I just keep seeing people trying to bring the Nation of Islam into it. It's like, why? You know, you guys will know for sure how the Nation of Islam feels about anything, because they will tell you. But, you know, I think it's, and I said about you, Donovan, but I've seen other people do that, trying to, it's like, nah, don't bring them in that. You know, they'll speak for themselves, I'm quite sure.
Yeah, no. What I was saying, in my experience being there, they're very disrespectful to the nation being there in the country. Trust me.
Yeah, but I'm saying, even with that, what is that? Why? I mean, sounds like they're disrespectful to a lot of people, but I don't understand why people, again, it's not just you. I've seen other people try to draw the correlation between them and the Nation of Islam, and I'm not understanding why they're doing that. Maybe I'm just missing, you know, the correlation there. But yeah, but even with that, and William, how you doing, by the way? I agree with you. This does nothing for us as Black Americans. As I said, and as you said, Donovan, somebody else has said, we really wanted to curtail any of this. We have to kind of look like we need to be careful who we vote for, because we vote for the Democrats more than anybody. And in fact, there's a lot of them Somalis there that voted for Trump. You know, and I've seen now I'm not for Trump anymore. He's calling us garbage. So I've seen a lot of them vote for Trump. But yet the party that Black Americans predominantly vote for is responsible for bringing them in here. And then let's keep it a buck too. It was both parties that helped destabilize Somalia. So let's keep it a buck, right? It was the Democrats, and, you know, they say all the way from Nixon to H.W. Bush, help with the destabilization of Somalia. So there's a lot there. But at the end of the day, they're able to commit fraud or whatever it is. Sounds like it's not just them, but it's, I guess, a lot of them involved in that. But they come over here and get a copious. I keep looking out my window because it's windy. That's why. So they get a copious amount of things that we don't get. My thing is, why are we just not finding that out? Why haven't we been knowing that? You know why we don't know it? Because we vote blue no matter who. I don't need to know what the candidates are about or any of that other stuff. There's a lot of people who ran around when Ilhan Omar was part of the what do you call it? What was it? The squad. Yeah, they part of the squad, right? They were the progressives. They was going in there and it was gonna sock it to Washington. And Nancy Pelosi said, if y'all don't sit y'all wet behind the ears, behind down somewhere, you better. And we ain't heard nothing else from them. And they said AOC, who used to be a bartender, she's wealthy now. Ilhan Omar, she's got between $5 to $30 million. So the squad per se bought in, but there's a lot of people who didn't holler about the squad. They was gonna go in there and they wasn't gonna take no mess. But as I always said, I know people don't like it, and I know that we as Black Americans get hindrance and other people get help. That's just the facts, right? But that they got over here, and then of course too, even in Somalia when they had all that going on, they still had a sense of unity. So they came over, and as I drew the correlation the other day on the African Diaspora News Channel, they did what we were told to do back in the day, right? The talented 10% of y'all is supposed to be the brains, right, of the Black community. Black Americans go off and bring back that knowledge to the rest of the 90%, but that 10% didn't do it. But the flip side of that, the Somalis, they brought the first wave over here, got stabilized. They said, oh, well, we're going to bring some more, right? So they brought, many more of them over there. And then wherever they are in Minnesota, sounds like they have a stronghold on some places. They were able to get into government policing and, a whole host of other things. So that they're just doing for their community like we should be doing, right? But we don't, for a whole host of reasons. We're distracted. We fall for the banana in the tailpipe. All these candidates who mean us no earthly good. But now we're starting to wake up and say, yeah, no, they not for us, right? But I agree with Nick. I agree with him 100%. Trump is using people, because I was thinking about that the other day. I said, man, what happened to the Epstein files? They just go away, right? And Donovan, as you said, the allegation, I'll say the allegation is that he's enriching himself. They said his son, Eric, he's 10 times wealthier than this year than when his dad became president again. He's made 10 times the money. How is that? You ain't in office. Presidents don't make that kind of money. What, they making like $400 or some $1,000 a year? So why is your son 10 times wealthier allegedly than he was a year ago? And your son-in-law and all these other places. So I, like Nick said, I gotta keep you mad, because you know what? When I keep you mad, you don't think, you just mad, and that includes Black Americans. We mad, we fighting. Well, I don't know. I'm not fighting with the Somalis, but there's people who are fighting with the Somalis or whatever the case is. But it's like, man, it would be nice if we just got our stuff together.
Yeah, and before we go back to the chat, I just want to also clarify this. We can say the Somalis did this, we can say Black Lives did this, and all this money that's being stolen. All of this money being stolen is pennies compared to what the military-industrial complex is stealing. When you got $1 trillion military budget and we are not at a pseudo war, in an actual war, just like Eisenhower, the first Black president, actually said, that for every dollar that the military-industrial complex gets is theft out of every man, woman, and child in this country.
Yeah, and like Tim Wall said, if you're committing fraud, you need to pay for it, right? Fraud is fraud, no matter what it is. But sounds like Minnesota got a few people, Somalis, including other people, committing fraud. But Trump is using that as a distraction. I think he's kind of always had a problem with Ilhan Omar. I don't know if it's her attitude or her unapologetic, about maybe not bowing down. I don't know what his thing is with her. He clearly doesn't like her, but out of all the things that's going on in the country, of course we know that there's this anti-Muslim movement going on. I don't know if it's in the country. Well, yeah, especially here in Texas, they had a problem with a Muslim community on, X or Twitter. They hate Muslims and a lot of things like that. So I think Trump is probably just using the Somalis like, oh, okay, throw that dog bone out there and get everybody distracted, talking about how horrible Somalis are. But, you know, at the end of the day, Trump is not telling you how horrible Somalis are, but and not saying, well, I'm going to help y'all. Let's talk about Black Americans. He's not saying, well, you know, let me see what I can do to help Black Americans. We just, and it's like, for what? What is the point to all of that?
Yeah, and let me add this. You guys have heard that Trump has proposed getting rid of the property tax. Have you guys ever understood why Trump is doing that and possibly doing that? And I was thinking about this yesterday when I was at the hardware store on my break. It's like when you have black paint and you have white paint, right? And you pour the black paint into the white paint. What do you get? You definitely don't get white anymore. You get gray. So think about this. If there are more people of color and from other cultures and stuff, because that's what's happened in the last 4 years and even in that graph that Demetra put up, it shows more people of Latin countries that have come in the last 4 years. I guess that's why Joe Biden said, you need to get behind those Hispanics. So you got a whole culture shift, right, that has come into the country all of a sudden. Now, I want you guys to think about this. Why would a Republican president now, he's actually a Democrat cosplaying as a Republican, but why would all of these Republicans and politicians be for getting rid of the property tax? I'll tell you why. At least I think this is my assessment of that. Because as more people get elected that are non-white and are non-WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, if you change the laws now, you could never take the property from them because property tax is your house. The land you will never pay for the way the laws are set up right now. But if they can change the laws now, you will never ever take that wealth from them down the road for future generations. And I was thinking about that and it kind of made sense. I know I'm kind of going to a different direction with that, but I wanted you guys to just kind of think about the repercussions of why all of a sudden does property tax is so important to this agenda. Because what does property tax pay for? Do you guys know 70 to 80% of most of your local taxes are paid for by what? Property tax. Something to think about.
Absolutely. I keep seeing you guys reference this, the Imam, I saw the video. Yeah, and he did say Black Americans, 90% of us don't know who our fathers are. We're made from one night stand and all that other stuff. I'm like, honestly, clearly, see, I'm one of those people is like, I can hear what you're saying, and if you sound like an idiot, I'm not gonna die on the hill. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say like you sound stupid. So that's like, to me, what is it? It's an old saying that says, I'm not gonna argue a battle of the wits with somebody who's unarmed, right? So clearly that man is unarmed. Hey, he just pulled that statistic from somewhere. Is he teaching hate of Black Americans to his people? Absolutely 100%. But that's what we choosing as Black Americans to die on the heel of. He said something that was clearly untrue. It wasn't true. He's a liar. You know, he's got to sell that to his people for whatever reason, because obviously he can't sell that they're great in and of themselves without bringing in other people like Black Americans. So to me, I'm like, okay, he's lying. Next. Now, what are we going to do? You know what I mean? And I would venture to say that's not all of them that said that, or not all of them that think that. I'm just kind of putting that out there. And I saw somebody else say something. I know I need to skip down because I'm so behind. So y'all forgive me. Where did this comment go? And then I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. So y'all bear with me. JW, how you doing? It says they have done FBA a lot of representational harm. We are always framed as undeserving citizens involved in scam, fraud. Their fraud scandal reinforce all the welfare and scams myth. If you don't knock it off, they already thought that about you or us as Black Americans. They didn't need the Somalis to, oh, that's it. Come on, knock it off. You know what I mean? I think we're actually giving the Somalis too much power. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm wrong, but I think we're giving them too much power. Now we care about what they think about me. I want to know how many people in that chat care what white folks think about you. And do you think there's something you can do good enough to change their minds of how they think about you? Or do you think because the Somalis are frauding and scamming that all of a sudden they have an even worse view of Black Americans? See, I like to ask a bunch of questions. You know what I mean? I like, let's be for real here. Let me skip down a little bit, Donovan, because I know I'm so behind. I don't mean to be. Going down. Text, how you doing? Says, what Donovan said is true. I was in the UK and I mentioned the Nation of Islam to a Somalian and he said they are not real Muslims. I replied, if they not, how come you real Muslims ain't? And your comment cut off. Again, I don't do any better. I don't even know how why they're being brought into this at all. I don't. I think it's another form of division, you know. But I hear what you're saying. Brother Don, how you doing? You said Somalia is a true location of historic Egypt, well hidden and well played. And yeah, Arniba, like you said, if the United States had a hand in destabilizing their government, then you got to concede that as well. People, I don't know, for whatever reason, they're saying that part real slow and low, and then going on to the, why they did this and they did that. It's like they not over here, you know, because they just, like I said, found a place on the map. They were invited to come over here, but I don't know why people have a hard time really just giving that a full conversation. Now, I know they weren't invited over here to commit no fraud now. I'm not saying that, you know. Corey says, let the anti-Black group stick up for themselves. Yeah, you know, I agree. Hey, my how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Black Rose and Somali business is not FBA business, but I guess we make it in our business, right? We're hanging our hat on. See, that's why white people don't like us. It's like, did they like you when they had our ancestors on those plantations? Well, we well liked by them then. Well, we well liked when they were fashioning those black holes during Jim Crow. Well, we liked then. What we like when they were, you know, working the sharecroppers and putting them in convict leasing programs. Or did they like us then? You mean to tell me they kind of sort of liked us all the way up until the Somalis came over here and committed fraud? Y'all see how that sound? You know what I mean? And I honestly don't, I get it. At one point in time, people thought all blacks, I guess, were the same. But I see Somalis as Somalis, right? And they're not Black. And it's funny because I saw a guy give that explanation. He says a lot of us say we're not Black because that's not a term that we use in Somalia. Now, some of them are probably saying that because they are being anti-Black, like, nah, I don't identify with them. But he's saying from some of their points of view, they don't know that word as a description of them in Somalia. That's what he said.
Yeah, no. And I agree with you what you just said. But see, what they got to understand is you're now in America. That is the term that is used to describe somebody that looks like you. An adjective. You have dark skin, whatever. And that's what I mean when you go into Rome, you do as the Romans. See, these people don't understand that. But again, we're the only group of people that were forced to this country. We didn't come here by choice. Religion was taken from us. Our identity was taken from us. Everything was taken from us. And we had to learn what the white man rule is. All these other countries, we've accommodated them where they could keep their culture. They could keep their religion. They can keep their language. Right. And so that's why you have the Dominicans who I love Dominicans, who I love when they say, oh, me no Black, me Dominican. They're talking from their aspect, but you're not in Dominica anymore, which is why I say Pan-Africanism, it isn't a failure. We're the only ones that practice it. These people want to delineate. That is why delineation is so important. But when you come to another country, you're supposed to assimilate into that country, not bring it's okay to bring some of your culture with it to enrich the soil, right? But when you just don't want to do that, and you're like, oh, I'm not Black. It's evident you have Black skin in this country. This is how it's defined in this country. You're not in Somalia. You're in the United States.
And I say that's bullcaca. You can't tell them people what to call themselves, regardless of where they at. That's like if you go to Japan, they're not going to say you can't say you Black. They're going to say, or say you need to say you're Japanese. You're going to say I'm Black, right? So I don't even get that. Like everybody else are allowed to identify as how they want to identify, whether you're Latino, Asian, or whatever the case is. Now, I know, we'll say Asians, right? But there's different types of Asians. So to say that they got to come over here, and first of all, like, I ain't going to say it because I'm going to get in trouble. But, I mean, They can't say they not black, or they can't say they got to say, like, this makes no, this is like we like in law.
Okay, well, that goes to the argument as a man. Oh, I'm trans. I'm this. You see what I'm saying? That's where the confusion comes in. But no, I agree with you in the whole aspect that they could call themselves whatever they want. Because what's that saying, Demetra? It's not what you're called; it's what you answer to. So I agree to that, right? So, but the point of the matter is, you're in America, and if what they're saying is so true, wait for it, you guys. Check this out. If what they're saying is so true, oh, we're Somalis, we're this, why are so many of them now trying to call themselves black?
And you know what? I don't really give a damn if they trying to call themselves black, green, orange, and other thing is, I don't care if y'all get mad or not. It's all love at the end of the day. What you gonna do about it if they don't call themselves black? What you gonna do about it as a black American if black Americans ain't got no power?
I'm deporting your ass. That's what I'm doing. ICE, Demetra is in Houston. Get down there immediately.
Daddy. I'm just saying, what we gonna do about it? What are we gonna do about it? What power do we have to make the Somalis say they black, they not black, to leave or go? We don't even have the power to die. We do, but we don't use it to do anything in our own community. But yeah, it's all no way. All of a sudden, when it comes to everybody else, that to me is funny. It's funny because it's a false perception of power. It's like if we were to use that power in our own community, like I said, and I'm not being disrespectful to the Somalis. I don't give a damn what they got going on. They stealing and frauding. Trust me, out of anybody in the United States, the Somalis are gonna be held to account. You can believe that they not getting away with nothing.
Yeah, no. But I agree with you. Whatever, we don't have the power to do that as a group. We do, but we don't. What it is Demetra, I think the thing is like this. We've been in this country since the inception of the country, and also before it, right? So we have a history. So when people come over here, since we're the only group that practices Pan-Africanism, we're trying to tell these people how you move in this nation. And what do I always say when it comes to these other groups that come here? Don't just come here for all the goodies. Come and get some of this racism that this white man has to offer, because it's here. And now they're going to get the smoke of what this country is really about. It's not always about the milk and honey that they hear about in their land far, far away. We're the only group that fights white supremacy every day. The other groups, they work within it. And let's be real, for those of you that don't know history, Somalia was a colony of Italy. Okay, so Italy is their main antagonist over there. Yes, America did all what they got to do, but you got to also understand the colonialism in the mindset of a Somali, right? So they have that. But yeah, don't just come over here and just expect to get the milk and honey. Come and get all this racism that we have been warning you about, and we've been trying to tell you how to move to survive in this country, because we've been doing it for 400 something years.
That's right. I got to wear this shirt for Donovan so he'll know. I'm not arguing. I'm just explaining why I'm right. Okay. Period. And D-Mac, thank you for the donation. Love and appreciate you for that. And yes, I forget who that was that said that, but yes, I did see about the MLK and the Juneteenth thing that the national parks, you can't get a discount or something like that for those days, but you can get a discount on Donald Trump's birthday, June 14th. And guess what? And no disrespect to nobody, I don't give a damn. I really don't, because us not getting a discount to go into those parks is not going to change the trajectory of anything about Black Americans in this country at all. It's all symbolism or whatever the case is. And let's keep it a buck. Most of us probably don't even go to them damn parks. No way, you know? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I get it. But you know, it's just to really see how we're going to respond. We, the regular old smugglers, are going to, oh my God, we can't get into to Sequoia National Forest with $5 off. Okay. I really don't. You know, I'm not saying it's not right. It's not, but I'm not finna lose no sleep over that. You know what I mean? Now, when they start taking away, you know, birthright citizenships from Black Americans and locking us up and putting us on plantations, yeah, I think I'm gonna be concerned, right? So yeah. Let's see. I gotta skip down. I know I'm so behind. Money Green Beans, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Says, why can't thank you so much for that. Said, why can't people leave us alone. And when you say people, us alone, I mean, you know why we the greatest people ever walking earth, you know. But to Donovan's point, what he said, oh, you know, we trying to tell them how it goes down around here. We can't even tell our own community how it goes down around here. All the stuff we got going on in our community that needs a fixing, yet now we gonna tell onboard everybody else, when you come over here, you got to do A, B, C, and D. It's like we need to go in the local corner in our neighborhood and say all of that, right? Because the Somalis, like I said, if anybody gonna pay for committing crimes, it's gonna be them. Trump ain't letting them get away with that, you know? So it's like, all right, now back to the block. What do we got to do now? What is it that we got to do? Now that we done dragged the Somalis from here to there and everywhere. Now we come back to our community. Now what? Now somebody on my one of my comments says, oh, well, you need to be having those conversations. I'm like, hey, you better let the record reflect. Okay, I had those conversations, you know. Anyway, let me skip down a little bit so I can catch up. I do apologize. I know a lot of y'all have comments in here. Angela, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. D Tone. I hope I said that right. G. Tone 1. He says, listen, we don't owe the Somalis. They are free to go home if they want. Yeah, I didn't say we owe them anything. They can do whatever they want, right? And of course, Trump is talking about taking their temporary protective status away, reversing their citizenship.
He already did. Or he already took their status away.
Yeah. And reversing citizenships and all this other stuff is like, okay, they do what you got to do, you know?
And you guys got to remember, people, they keep equating the status to like under the Biden administration. The Somali status is over 30 years old. It's over 30 years old. It's supposed to be temporary, not a backdoor way into the United States. So yeah, I think it was, if you agree with it or you don't agree with it, 30 years for a temporary thing, yeah, it needed to be revoked. So a lot of people are confusing what Biden did with what Trump just did in regards to this particular group. That's over a 30-year temporary status. He just took it. Yeah.
So 30 years ago, who gave it to him?
George H.W. Bush.
Easy said, who's giving Somalis power in this country? It sound like they through the help, I guess, of the Democrats, and they give it to themselves. You know, they got the help and all of that, and they decided to give it to themselves. And now they're a well-oiled machine over there. It sounds like they're committing some fraud too. But with that, they, you know, seem like they got that building that Dr. Claude Anderson been telling us to build. Right.
And again, what do you say, Demetra? Or what did Anna Louis Farrakhan said? Don't laugh, learn. Don't laugh, learn. If we like it or not, they built a community and elected people that stood on business for them. For them. Didn't care what America's saying and this, that. They stood on business for them. What do? We keep a Maxine Waters in there for 30 years that do absolutely nothing for black people. We keep a Jim Clyburn, Bojangles Clyburn in office that don't do a damn thing for black people. That's what we do. They did it the right way. You know, you like them, you like them, you don't like them, whatever. That is what you're supposed to do. And when your representative doesn't do what it is they need to do for you, you get the next person, next man up. So don't laugh, learn.
I don't know if y'all couldn't hear my tambourine, but I was like, hallelujah. I mean, I'm just saying, Donovan, it could really all be so simple. You know what I mean? And listen, like I said, I'm Black American. I know people, where you from? Where your people from? You know, but I'm Black American, right? And like you said, it could be all so simple, but we rather make it hard because, like you said, we keep Maxine Waters. She's been claiming her time since the Methuselah was born, and we keep her in there. But then we chase the dog bone, and then we complain about everybody else. Like, I'm not saying the Somalis, you know, are anti-black or what. I'm not even arguing that. I don't even know. I don't think I know any Somalis. I don't think that I do. So I'm not arguing on their behalf, but I'm saying, wow.
You know the brick lady. You know the damn brick lady. Stop it.
You know damn well I don't know that lady. I think the brick lady doing some time right now. Earth Angel, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Sherry says Ilhan has been caught saying she's only for her people, even though she's in our government. Just crazy. I don't like her because she thinks she's better than all of us. I'm tired of them. The immigrants, I think you're saying. But to that point, that's what she's supposed to do. Sherry, I love you. I do. Oh, I do. But why aren't we getting that? Like, I'm not going, like I said, I'm not going to get mad at the Mexican for me walking my black self in there talking about, are you hiring? No. We're not hiring. And then a Mexican walking behind me and they hire because that's what they're supposed to do. It's us. We don't do that. Oh, we all come on in. Oh, yeah, I got a job for you. Oh, yes. What the hell, man? And we don't look out for each other. Look at our politicians. Like Donovan said, they look out for everybody else but Black Americans. And we get mad, but then we going to show up. Donovan, I'm going to talk about this in depth next week. I saw polling that said that Black Americans overall, if the election was held here today, I ain't gonna say his name, I won't give it away, but we'll vote for a Democrat candidate. And that Democrat candidate potentially, or for president, because nobody's really declared yet, told Black Americans, suck to your reparations demand. So, but then, on one hand, we gonna go and cry about what the Somalis are doing. But yeah, we're gonna elect another sucker that's gonna give us their behind the kiss, both cheeks, and then we're gonna complain when they get in the office and say, "Well, I ain't gonna do nothing for you Black Americans." Then we're gonna talk about somebody else.
Yeah, but what happened to those Black Democrats during the reparations bill here in California? They came out dancing and like, "What you gonna do about it? Who gonna check me, boo?" Right?
And damn it, they were right. You know what I'm saying? Who gonna check them? I guarantee you that most of them will probably be back in office next time. Yep. Next 2026, they'll be back in office.
Yep.
You know, we do a lot of this. But we don't be putting our feet to the street really doing nothing. We just bump our gums. And that's why I said I sometimes hate the internet because, boy, I tell you, people just, whew. One of my favorite memes, Donovan, is it's of a white man. He's got all this tactical gear on, all these, pew-pews. And it says, I'm going to go fight the war over the internet.
Exactly. But, but back to what you were saying. Operation Mockingbird has people still thinking, see, a lot of people, and, not just you guys, me, whatever the deal is, a lot of people think that these representatives represent the United States. They do not. That is not how our government works. The representatives are supposed to represent the districts that they come from, period. Now, why they represent a Democratic agenda, we don't know where that came from. Oh, the Democratic agenda's first, and then we got to do this. No, they're supposed to represent. That's why we have an executive. That's why we fought a civil war to kind of clear all this out. The executive represents the United States and runs the United States as a whole. Your representatives are there to bring resources back to their community from the federal government. That's how it works. They don't a representative from Houston does not represent me here in California. It doesn't work that way. We have different issues, different things. But it's unfortunate. A lot of people do think that's how our government works. Maxine Waters, whatever. Yeah, they're all on the blue team. They all got on the red team. But individually, these people are not supposed to represent nobody but their constituents.
Ooh, Donovan, you might wake us up. Keep on preaching, brother. You might wake us up. We may wake up one day. And Beverly said, now there are other people are feeling the pain of racism. Yeah, I'd agree with that. They understanding that, Black Americans aren't just whining and crying, right? But I will say this, and I tell you all the time about the book. I'm going to try to find it in just a second. The Hidden Secrets to Oriental Wealth. I mean, the guy called us out. He was like, I know y'all think Asians come over here and we get this, that, and the other. He says we do, but there's other things that we do. right? We don't sit up and whine and cry all day. We organize, we do what we got to do. So it's, you know, it's a really interesting book. And Cynthia, thank you so much. Beautiful. Love and appreciate you for that. It says millions of immigrants come here to America to reap our benefits, civil rights, and profit off of our tax dollars while American families are struggle. I totally agree with Trump. No more. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that part of it. But I think to Nick Fuentes' point, it's all a distraction. It's all a distraction. You know, like I said, ain't nobody talked about Epstein at all. They remember they was hot on the case, right? They was about to release the files. And then all of a sudden, Ilhan Omar, Ilhan Omar, she's garbage. And people have just been yapping ever since.
Right. And Letitia James, they're not going to do the case. And Fannie Willis, they dropped the case. And all this stuff that people were excited about.
Or Diddy, or did you see the Diddy? You know, I told y'all I blocked the word Diddy. I blocked the word Diddy on social media. I just blocked it on Netflix because when I was scrolling down, it was said recommended Diddy. Oh, number one Diddy. Oh, this because you know 50 Cent got a thing. I'm like, I thumbs it down because I'm like, listen, what I'm not gonna do is be distracted by Diddy. Diddy is in prison, okay, for about 3 years or so. So Diddy is where he's, you know, all that. But here it goes. You know, was it Spike Lee? He called it malt liquor for Negroes. I call it NyQuil for Negroes. Rock them back to sleep. I don't give a damn about what Diddy is doing. Because as I told somebody earlier, I said, Diddy gonna have more money than me, you, and 50 Cent put together when he gets out. Okay? So Diddy's well off in prison than we are. Okay? Derek, he says, nobody telling anybody that. And I know I'm so far behind, so y'all got to forgive me. Let me just go to the bottom. NBA is crazy, Will. Natural Black American. Facts I Feel said, I'm going to say something controversial. Oh, American like you. He says, Europe is on its way down as an empire. FBA should not put all of his eggs in an American basket. Africa's the future. Asia's the future. Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. And I've been thinking this. A lot of FBA ain't going to be able to go to Africa because they're going to be like, oh, no, we seen you on the internet.
Exactly. Hey, do us a favor. Hit that like button, you guys. Hit that like button on your way in. It's absolutely free. Hit that like button.
Yeah, we seen you up on the internet. What's that word y'all calling us? Tethers?
What's the word that the Nigerians call us? Akakis or akak?
I forget what it's called. Like that, yeah.
Akatas. Yeah, we're akatas.
We got every name in the book for each other but kings and queens. You know what I mean? Like we call each other everything but the child of God. I'm just going to skip down because I see I'm so behind. Acknowledging everybody I have not seen. Cart game. How you doing? Y'all name. I tried to fix it. I don't know what it is. Why y'all names are smashed together. He says the Somalis were Arab up until a week ago. They would correct you if they call them black. Yeah. I've been hearing. I guess you know. Bakari, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thunder, how you doing? Enjoying this cold, somewhat hot weather. Now, I don't know this person because, again, it's all messed up, but it says user. It says, okay, so if she's doing what she's supposed to do for her people, why are you campaigning this Pan-African mess all the time? You know these people over here are for self. I'm not campaigning anything. The problem is, I guess that I'm trying to campaign for Black Americans, but I guess it's just not sexy enough. I don't know. Like, Donovan, you've known me for all your life, right?
Yes.
Now,
yes.
I keep telling people, I'm not new to this. I've been talking about this, but somehow, I don't know. Like, I think utopian speaking, yes, there should be a diaspora, right? There should be a Pan-African movement. That ain't the case right now. But we don't want to talk about Black Americans. We don't. You know why I'm saying that? Y'all could be mad if you want. We talk more about everybody else than we talk about ourselves. It's just the truth. Like I said, where attention goes, power flows. So the more we talk about everybody else, we're not putting that attention on us. So I'm trying to talk about Black Americans. That's all I ever really try to do. But I guess it's just not sexy enough. Maybe I need to throw Diddy up in there or somebody or some baby oil. I don't know. What's going to make talking about Black America sexy? Throw it in the comment section. What's going to make it sexy? Like I always say, I'm not a good gossiper, right? I tried to do, here and there, try to do the trendy things. Donovan to tell you, I'll be like, that ain't on my algorithm, right? People call me, oh, you had to hear about this? No, I didn't. I don't gossip well. You know what I mean? I just don't.
But if it was General Hospital or what's that, Days of Our Lives?
All my children.
Victor Newman and
you know, I didn't. My mama didn't watch that. I watch every once in a while. I did. I was caught up in the is it All My Children with Jesse and Angie, and then General Hospital with Luke and Laura. I was caught up then, right? I was like, wait a minute, now he raped her. Then they got married. What? Now, mind you, I'm like 11, 12.
right. How many times did Victor and what's her name get married? They got married like 7, 8, 12 times.
Okay, and then he died for real not too long ago. How you doing? You said we have the right to respond to anyone who has hate for us. No one's mad. I mean, yeah, you have the right to do that. I guess. Yeah. Mandy, how you doing? So Democratic politicians always say black and brown. They never just say black. Well, they always say black and brown when they want the black to help the brown, but never the brown to help the black. Check it out. There's never a time where it's going to be, hey, brown people, black Americans have sent the bat signal. It's never going to be that. It's always going to be, hey, black Americans, ICE is out there and they're really doing something to the brown people. Can you get out there? And we're like, no. Darius, how you doing? Says I'll simply say this about all unnecessary mess, foolishness, and nonsense. Yeah, okay. I still maintain my peace, happiness, joy, kindness, and love in the midst of the madness because the comment cut off. Hey, I'm with you. I like my peace at the end of the day. I like that my phone don't ring. I like that I don't really receive text. I like all of that. I like my peace and quiet. Yes, I do. E. Wright was going on, says America has helped Somalia fail. Yeah, but it's not sexy. Facts aren't sexy. Just rage, baby. Ah! See, like I said, like for me, I understand rage. And I also understand that it shortens your lifespan, you know, all the time. And I always ask, what's in it for people to keep me mad all the time, raging and, you know, what's in it for you to keep me mad? Like, give me some solutions, homie. All right, I'm mad. Now tell me what to do with this anger. Other than that, I'm just holding it in, right? This, that, and the other. But nah, people don't want to know about that because facts aren't sexy. It's not ragey enough. You know, it doesn't have a good shoulder shimmy to it. D-Mac says exactly, Sister Demetra. That's what your representatives are supposed to do. Yeah, but again, it's not sexy. Boy, King Shaw, how you doing? Says Trump 2028. Okay. Edward says Democrats are good millionaires and billionaires. They all of them are. FM, how you doing? Says if that's true, then why do they take an oath? They take an oath to bring the bacon home for their district. Now, as a collective, they have a responsibility, but their responsibility is to who, Donovan?
Their constituents, the people that voted them in the office. Every government worker makes a pledge to the Constitution. But if that was the case, how many of them actually uphold the Constitution? Not many. Not many. If you really look at the Constitution, what they're supposed to do, they're not upholding the Constitution, because if they upheld the Constitution, why would you be for illegal immigration? That's an invasion. Enemies, foreign and domestic. How does a felon become president? Explain it.
It's not sexy enough. Donovan, that's the facts aren't sexy enough. Let's see, skipping down. FM says the congressional oath of office is a solemn pledge for representatives and senators to support the U.S. Constitution, defend it from enemies, bear truth, faith, and allegiance, and faithfully perform. Allegedly, right? Lauren, how you doing? I ain't gonna read your comment because you be with the stuff. Elena, how you doing? Says Black Americans must organize a state and have a pleb something. Vote. My daughter is in here busting up. Okay. I will put it up. Vote. This is how we can transfer wealth and power to ourselves. Got you. Bernice, how you doing? Says these representatives seem more interested in representing a foreign state in the Middle East. Now, see, that ain't sexy either. That ain't sexy. Charlemagne, how you doing? Says, as an FBA, I admire the Somali people. They make their community leaders stand on business. Jasmine Crockett needs a teaching class from Ilhan Omar on stand on business with her people. Shh, that ain't sexy either. Because it's the truth, right? The truth ain't really sexy. Is I could have had a V8 type thing. But see, if we like delve into the truth a little bit, then I think we would get somewhere. But we don't necessarily do that well. But I get it. We've been conditioned to, get with the raginess. Lady D, how you doing? Says, I'm not leaving the country. My ancestors built. Yeah, and a lot of people feel that way, right? Lala, how you doing? Says, and if they do go say that land was promised to us 5,000 years ago. Are you talking about Somali? Because I know they're saying, I've seen rumblings about minute out. This is foolishness. Sister Shirley, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Brother Todd, he says, white folks have done this to this country a million times worse than Somalis could ever do. So watch the distraction Sleepy Trump is putting out there. That ain't sexy either. It's not. Satra, how you doing? He says, where did you get the t-shirt? Where did I get this? I think I got it from Walmart. Like a couple of bucks. I like that. It's like, I'm gonna get that shirt. Yeah, Walmart in the men's department. It's a man's t-shirt. Hey, Brother Damon, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Kevin says General Hospital with Frisco and Felicia. I was a big soap opera watcher. To Demetra, The Edge of Night was another great one. Well, my grandmama and my mama, they were. I kind of watched when they watched. It wasn't. I'm like, oh, I got to go watch my stories because I was like in high school and stuff, junior high, elementary. I remember my mom watching all my children, and I kind of just watched it with her. Tanya, how you doing? Says, not only do the Somalis have a community, they have a mall in the community. We're still looking. Yeah, that ain't sexy though. Tanya, that ain't sexy. That's not ragey. It's not sensational enough. Because, we used to have malls, but they gentrifying and taking them and not selling them. Like, there's a lot going on in our community, but, it's not sexy. Kimmy says defending ourselves is not being mad. Are we defending ourselves? Are we really defending ourselves? How are we defending ourselves? If y'all don't mind me asking, how are we defending ourselves? And I'm not being facetious. I really don't know how we're defending ourselves by talking about everybody else but us. How are we defending ourselves? Anita says in Nigeria, they call us Oyinbo, which is what they call white people. Okay, yeah, I never heard that before. JW says 7 years ago when Somali youth were deleted by Toronto police, the other black communities came together and protested in solidarity. I vaguely remember that. I don't remember the details. The only way did you switch accounts? What's going on? And you say, switching the topic, the shell game continues. Always, right? Cynthia says, let's be clear and stay focused. FBAs, this is not our fight. I mean, I agree. Black Plumber, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Easy says, it appears to me America is searching for a new immigrant workforce. Always, right? Always. Bakari says, lobbyist corporation and special interests run this corporation because it ain't a country. Okay?
Yeah, I'm going to disagree that these corporations are looking for a new immigrant workforce. They're looking for AI and getting the robots online because even immigrants want to get paid. They don't want to do that anymore. They're looking to bring in the AI, which is what's happening right now in real time.
Absolutely. Gary says the lie always runs from the truth, but the truth never runs from the lie. True. I have to, rethink that. Herschel said, I'm telling you, Demetra, she's a maniac on the floor. Me or Jennifer Beals from Flashdance. My dad take me to see that. I don't know if my dad knew what he was taking me to see. I think it was like 10 or 11. My dad was a mechanic, and when he got off work, You know, I was the only one there for some reason. But when he got off work, I was like, Daddy, I want to go see Flashdance, right? So we went, whatever. He fell asleep and I watched the movie. And then when it was over, I said, Daddy, it's over.
Yeah, I saw Flashdance in the Philippines. I didn't really understand the movie at the time. So I was like, this is some BS.
Well, you know, as a dancer, I like dance movies. What was you going to say, Donovan? I know you're going to say something stupid. Agent Black, how you doing? Long time no see. Says, I think Black Americans can call out the anti-Blackness that goes on with Somalis and still do what's needed to do. The two don't need to be mutually exclusive. Yeah, I get it. I just don't see the point. I mean, I get it. We can say, hey, you're scammers or you're frauds or you Black, you ain't. Okay, all right. But at the end of the day, Black Americans are still going to be damn near at the bottom of the totem pole because of institutional systemic racism. We always going to include that even if we never like say it. But we give our money away. We are politically immature. We like political fluff. We don't like political logic. We're emotional. We won't, hell, let's keep it a buck. A lot of us in the Black America don't like each other. You know, I listened to the webcast today and the student minister, he was spot on. You know, he says, you know, we don't love each other because when you love each other, you know, we do better by each other and we don't do that, right? So we're always trying to hold everybody accountable and I think we should, but I think the person that you should hold accountable first is yourself, right? I'm not going to tell Donovan that he's a piece of crap and I'm a piece of crap. I mean, I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying, like, if I'm that too, who am I to tell you that? Like, man, sweep around your own front door. You know what I mean? How you telling me I'm something and you the same thing? You know what I mean? As the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, he said, any given Saturday night, we having shoot 'em ups. You know, the block is hot in any inner city where we are, but we won't die on the hill of that. And that's probably not the right terminology I should use, but we won't really just, we won't rage about that, but we'll rage about somebody that said they ain't Black and all this other stuff. Like I said, if anybody going to be held accountable, it's going to be them Somalis. Okay. They're going to be held to the full extent of law. Sounds like they already were, right? Sounds like they got convicted of fraud already. So they're going to be, they're not, because at the end of the day, white supremacy here sees the Somalis as Blacks. And I even venture to say the other word. Matter of fact, I saw a video of a white lady. She worked at Cinnabon. And she had a run-in with some Somalis. She called them the N-word and all kind of stuff. And she flipped them off and told them, suck it. And all this other stuff. They filmed her. And they're like, we're not, you know, N-words, just that and the other. And do you know she got fired by Cinnabon? Like, duh, right? But white supremacists, they trying to raise over $100,000 for her. And the last time I checked, they like at $40-something thousand for this white lady was blamed. Like, she was like, I don't care. F you, your mama, your daddy, your bald-headed granny, all of that, right? So white supremacy is showing them as well. But so my point is, Somalis ain't getting away with nothing. They not. In fact, I saw a report today that says out of all the presidents, I think going back to Bush Jr., Trump has pardoned, I think this year, I could be wrong, this year, both terms, 1,500 people. The most other than that was Obama at like 250. So my point is, a lot of those people that Trump pardoned probably look like him. Now, we've seen his track record of going after, let's say, Black people. Letitia James, you know, firing a whole bunch of people that are Black, this, that, and the other. So, like I said, them Somalis ain't getting away with it. One thing gonna remind them is that they over here, that you ain't special. You may not be Black to you, but you Black to white supremacy. You know? So, that I said that, can we, like, find something else to do? Because they gonna get held accountable. And at the end of the day, it's also a distraction because Trump is like, yeah, I got everybody and their mama rage baiting. The Indians are probably happy right now because a minute ago, they was on the, you know what I mean? They was getting rope-a-dope. Before that, the Latinos, and they still kind of are, but they was getting rope-a-dope. Now the Somalis are getting rope-a-dope. So it's like, Trump was like, who's next? Who's on the chopping block next? So I don't know. So, okay, well, you got 3 channels. Okay, I know 2 of them, maybe 3. I might know all 3 of them. Let's see. Go back up.
19 likes from 200, you guys. Hit that like button for us, please. Hit the like button. Hit the cash app. Hit the.
Kevin says people are still suffering from Willie Lynch syndrome. I totally agree with you on that. But that ain't sexy to talk about. D-Mac says many of us are not well traveled. When you go to other countries and experience the cultures, you will see and feel a stark difference. We are operating mainly as individuals here in the States. Yep. Sister Shirley says we need to love, need to know how to love ourselves first before we can love others. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We running off checking everybody. You this, you that. It's like we got the disaster in the Black American community, but we don't never want to really talk about that. I get it. It's not sexy. Talk about group economics, get the kids out the streets, and let's really cultivate something. Let's be the people our ancestors were. And it ain't sexy to talk about that. I don't know. Arlene says, yeah, I saw that video. Yeah, that lady, they raised her a lot of money for her. Yeah, so y'all all saw the video. User says, fact, Black's lives have to matter. They got to matter to us. Now, I'm not saying about that trophy racism everybody else talks about, like, Black on Black crime and Black, but Black lives got to matter to us. It does, and we know that crime is about proximity, and we do the most to each other. It's like white folks do the most to each other, and, but we do, like, we got a lot of problems that we got to solve, but it's not sexy. It's just not to talk about. I wish it was, in a sense. Tina, how you doing? Says he should look out for his people. Okay, Agent Black, you say, okay, I absolutely see your point. A lot better now. Africanator says no justice for the PPP. PPP. I mean, Trump that came out of the Trump administration, right? It was lax, right? It was really a whole lot of rules and that PPP. A lot of people in jail, right? Especially a lot of people that look like us, but they ain't saying nothing about all those millionaires and billionaires. It's like, oh, they giving away money. Well, I can use a little bit more. For what? You got money.
Yep, and nobody's saying who extended the going after the people in the PPP loans. That wasn't Trump. That was Biden.
True. And I did talk about your world, my world. I did talk about the fraud at the very beginning.
Yeah. But you see, and the sad thing is, Demetra, we don't see the correlation that these parties are fundamentally the same. They good cop, bad cop. That's basically what's running around here. Biden is the one that was shaking you guys down about make sure you pay every penny, and hired 80,000 tax agents to go and make sure you're paying all your taxes. Trump gets rid of the 80,000 tax agents, and people have a problem with that. Oh, he's firing people. But see, when we don't know what the issues are, we're going against, we're setting up our own demise. Who would be against the IRS being abolished? Do you like paying taxes unfairly to the federal government, which is unconstitutional? Only the states have the power to tax. I mean, for me, that would save me a couple $1,000s a year if I didn't have to pay federal taxes. But it is what it is.
Yeah, Brother Easy, you say, as the great Joy DeGruy said, 400 years of slavery and Jim Crow, no therapy afterwards. We still suffer from post-traumatic slave syndrome. She's absolutely right. But we talk about it a lot, right? We're just not interested in doing anything about it. We should be, but we're not, It's sad, actually. Your world, my world. You said now the Mexicans have a huge voting block than you, but guess how they vote though? Even to this day, they don't vote for the Democrats. They still vote, probably half and half of, for the Republicans. So I mean, they not. I don't know. They don't even vote for their abandonment, right? They found that out the hard way. But even still, Donovan in California with the Proposition 50, you would think they'd be the ones voting more so for, but it was black men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's very sad. Like I said, you got to remember, a lot of these people come here from these countries where they have an entrepreneurial spirit. They have to go get it. When Demetra and I were in South Africa, you had people that were doing hair on the sidewalks. That was their beauty shop. They were just hustling to get it. So when they come here, if you're a business owner, because the United States government sets them up, even though they won't give you a business as a Black American, FBA, whatever you want to call yourself, they open up their shops. But I think recently in Houston, there was a Nigerian woman that was kidnapping Black women. But ask yourself, how did this person was able to open up a business in less than 5 years and do well for themselves? How? And we've been here all our lives.
And guess who most of their customers are? You say it's not sexy. It's about Black Americans really don't want to face the facts about the negative things that go on in our community. There you go. And I'm being facetious when I say sexy. It's kind of a word that I use when I'm working with people. I probably should find a new word. I haven't to this point, but I'm just saying it's not, I guess, salacious enough. It doesn't really. It doesn't speak rage. Like, I think we should be enraged at the stuff that's going on in our communities, right? And at the benign neglect that these politicians do to us. We should be enraged about that, but we not. We enraged about some Somalis saying they not Black or they Black. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's like, God, we're easy. You know what I'm saying? You can go on the blade and the women give you a harder time than us.
And ladies, those prices need to come down. Y'all need to study economics. The demand isn't there. Nobody got no money.
The price is the price, boom.
What was that? Yesterday's price ain't today's prices, right?
We adding tax. For when I say we, I mean them.
Right.
I said, like, I'll be out there.
Right. And real quick, before we get out of here, you guys remember last week I was heading to City Council in regards to an EIR report. Now, it's a lot of you guys that know what, I'm not going to insult your intelligence. A lot of you guys know what's going on. EIR report, it's an environmental impact report. The developer of my city, once again, sends a person to waste our time to sell this idea to the people. I live in a town of 210,000 and growing. As more LA people are being gentrified, more people are coming to my city. Right, Demetri? That's where they go. They leave LA, they go to Moreno Valley. Right. So they're coming to my city with the LA mentality. Do you guys want to know how many good citizens decided to show up at an EIR report that will affect them health-wise, community-wise, and all this other stuff? Take a guess.
2.
Too low. 11. And how many of us were Black? Me. Just me. And get this, you guys. The person that is supposed to be doing the report is supposed to be nonpartisan, right? How can you be nonpartisan if you're getting paid by the developer that is producing the EIR report? So every question we asked this woman, she was like, well, I'm not here for that because there's certain steps you got to do. You got to do an initial meeting, which is where I went to. Then there's the next meeting. It's kind of like, have you guys ever been to an interview where it's like you kind of show up and you kind of know because you're a Black person, they're interviewing you because that's part of the process. They've got to interview so many Black people to legitimize. They've already got the person they want. They just want a couple Black people and to make it look good. That's what the EIR report was like. But something simple questions the lady could not answer. And we have a protected habitat, a marshland. Guess where they want to build 1,500 units, a new elementary school, and a few commercial buildings near a protected marshland. And if enough white envelopes get passed, guess what's going to happen to that protected marshland? It's going to be done.
We got a couple more minutes. In fact, Phyllis says, I'm mad rather about Somalis dehumanizing us. When they dehumanize you, it makes it easier for them in the future to genocide you. Who? For make it easier for who to do that? Y'all really think Somalis is calling shots like that over here? We outnumber them by what? 45 million, 46 million. Well, y'all think they really calling the shots like that? And are the Somalis really dehumanizing us? Like, what define dehumanizing? Are you saying dehumanizing? It's windy out there because they're calling us names, or they're saying they're not black, are they black? Like, what does it mean to dehumanize somebody? And have the Somalis done that? I'm just asking. Like, how are they able to dehumanize us? Says referring to us as one night stands in a church. That I seen one video of one man doing that. So that one ignorant behind man is dehumanizing all Black Americans. Come on now. If that's not feeling, I've known you all my life. I feel like I've known you all my life. And I'm really trying to gauge an understanding as to how you feel like the Somalis are dehumanizing us by that one ignorant man talking about. Like, to me, I don't even give stuff like that credence at all, because it's like this man is saying 90% of us don't know who our dad is. This is stupid. It's stupid. He's stupid. It's just stupid, right? Like I said, I don't need to talk bad about you to big up me, because I'm dope and dynamic all by myself. I don't need to talk about you crazy and to make myself feel good. I'm going to tell you about all the great things I got going on. So I'm saying all that to say he shouldn't even be listened to. He shouldn't, like, they're just like, it's not true. It'd be different if it was, it's just dumb. I don't know. But I'm just asking, how was 80 to 90,000 people able to dehumanize 46, 7, depending on what number you believe, people that just got over here 30 years ago? I'm just asking. Let's see. Just going down. Let me see. He says, okay, I saw that. He says he was in a church full of people who ain't gonna, what they gonna do? What they gonna do? They ain't gonna do. They can't do nothing. They stupid enough to sit up and listen to that man talk like that, then they stupid too. You know what I mean? Easy says nobody's safe from white. Even the animals, white will find a way to pass them to white animals. What? African Native says, where is the proof of dehumanizing? And Herschel says, do they have a mayor speaking Somalian? I don't know. Let's see. Double O Chaos, how you doing? Says they were spreading that message and they clearly felt the same. No one said nay. Who cares what they think? They don't define me. They don't define me. I define me. I know who my daddy is. My daddy is in Los Angeles County, California. Okay. I know exactly. Matter of fact, I can look at him on my phone right now. I can tell you exactly what he's doing right now. I can tell you what he eating, what he watching. I know who my daddy is. Most of us know who our daddy is, whether he's gone or he's still here. So, like, are we really mad at that? It's simply not true. We know our daddy is. Again,
right.
That's sexy though. That's sexy and it's ragey.
Yeah, and if you think about it, if you think about it, if you're getting upset about that, then there must be something true about it for your particular situation, because most of us do know who our daddies are.
It's ragey. It's ragey. It's all he said, this man. And listen, what I'm not gonna do is lie. I ain't saying I ain't never could participate in no rage bait. Everyone, I have done that before. I'm not saying I haven't. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm trying my best not to. Honestly, I know because of the nature of what we do, it's hard not to do that, right? But I know for a fact that I've been called to do a little bit more with my content. I've been called to do that. And so as hard as it is, I'm really trying to do that. And I know it's not going to be sexy or salacious or ragey. That's okay. Because I know at the end of that, I'm going to have to answer to that. So, and he says, I'm not taking it for Somali. You're not a savior. No, ain't nobody never nailed me to no cross, and I never want nobody to. Okay, I'm far from a savior. I'm just saying, let's, think about things with common sense. I think we're giving the Somalis too much credit over dehumanizing us, demonizing us, degrading us. I'm just simply asking, can they do that? Like, I know they call us names. Hell, we call people names all the time. We got names that don't nobody got. The names that we call people, man, cut deep to the bone. They can't. It's hard to survive a Black American roasting unless you're Black American. If you're not Black American and you get roasted by a Black American, yeah, you're gonna probably need some therapy. Gonna be like, what? Mayonnaise, what? So yeah, I'm not trying to be nobody's savior. Bakari says, man, we got bigger issues than talking about Somalis. It ain't sexy though. It's not sexy. Facts, I feel said his people all listening, and they did not again. I don't give a damn what they was listening to. They was listening to Miss, Mary Mack had buttons all up and down her back. I don't care if that's what they was listening to. I don't care if they was they put a seashell up to the wall and try to hear what the neighbors. I don't care what they was listening to. Ain't no define me. That man said, y'all mean tell me y'all giving that man who's so ignorant so much power over you? Why do we concede power over our power to everybody else? That man don't know us. He doesn't know 90% of Black Americans. So how the hell does he know that? See, that's too much logic though. But I'm not going to concede my power over to some man that's talking reckless out the side of his neck. But we're doing that for some reason. I don't know. But I can't tell people how to feel. You know what, easy. Is that a name y'all calling him? I don't even know. Agent Black says, I think the main problem is people like him are given a platform. He may be an idiot, but he's put out there for mass consumption. A lot of these anti-Black Somalis get political positions. Yeah, that's a different story. They get in political positions, talking about, I don't know, 90% of your father, then get him out of office. You know what I mean? But like I said, he don't know 90% of Black Americans, so how can he even make that assessment? Abdi Han, how you doing? I know I jacked your name. It says Somalis don't. They don't need nothing from me. I don't need nothing from them. That's the beautiful part, right? They don't need nothing from me. I don't need nothing from them. I don't know nobody who's Somali at all. But like I said, when y'all want to talk about Black Americans, let's do it. That's all I'm saying. That's where our focus should be. Man, they're giving birth like crazy, but we supposed to be doing that. But we let the Democrats come in our community talking about delete your babies. But we mad at Somalians because they popping them out left and right. That's what we supposed to be doing. That's how you populate.
It is estimated 27 million babies have been deleted since the 1970s. That's a whole nother group of people.
Yeah, but we mad at the Somalis because they having their babies. We should be having our babies. But we don't want to talk about that. Tina, I'm about to block you. Is what I'm about to do. Because I'm not with the foolishness. Because for one thing, you didn't hear me say March for No Immigrants. You ain't never heard me say that. So don't be on here lying and making up stuff. See, that's what I'm talking about, like the ragey stuff. What she want us to do, March for the Immigrants? You better check let the record reflect about me, homegirl. My work speaks for itself. You ain't never heard me say that, and do not paint narratives because you trying to be ragey. But if I want the March for the Immigrants, what you gonna do about it? Not a goddamn thing. Facts I Feel says it's called propaganda and it spreads. Not saying they're stupid, just saying their ideology is dangerous.
Yeah. Golden Heart 751 says the Supreme Court has got rid of the 14th Amendment. That's a new one. I know they're gonna deliberate on it coming up, but they haven't gotten rid of it to my knowledge. But if they do get rid of the 14th Amendment, I don't think that's going to happen. What they're going to do is they're going to take away birthright citizenship of the 14th Amendment, because like Trump said, and like a lot of political scholars and constitutionalists have said, that was specifically for slaves, for former slaves of the United States when it was ratified.
Dr. says, you guys don't understand how propaganda works. I think I understand how propaganda works. I got a master in a BA in communication and a master in public relations. So I know how propaganda works. I think, unfortunately, y'all don't. Y'all don't know how propaganda works because y'all take, not you, Facts, I feel it, but y'all take the smallest things and try to amplify it. Like, propaganda goes to both ways. That man is in his church talking to his people about utter nonsense propaganda, and we go spreading it. Like, goddamn well, most 90% of us know, it's not 90% of us don't know who our fathers are. Y'all know that's not true, but yeah, we acting like it's true. Like I said, when did we get to the point to where we let people define who we are? I don't care who it is. That man don't define me at all. It's just not a true number at all. He just throwing something out. He, like I said, he ain't speaking the gospel or whatever it is he's supposed to be teaching in his church. He teaching hate. To me, that's the message. And that if I was his people, I would feel like, damn, you really think we're that stupid, huh? And they must be. If he could sit up there and say something like that and nobody say, huh? You know what I mean? So to me, that's problematic. But because he says that we don't know 90% of our father, we mad about that. I ain't gonna be mad about something that ain't true. It's not true. But y'all do what you want to do with that. Yeah, Kay says your dad didn't sit right with you. I mean, it's a lie. Golden Heart, is that the one you read? Donovan says the Black Americans are still arguing what they want to call themselves. All of that. We ain't got no knowledge of self, and we don't talk about that. No knowledge of self at all. And maybe that's why we're mad. Because we don't know who we are, so we feel like maybe he's defining us. I guess in a sense he called our mama hoes. I don't know. Now, okay, you want to be mad about that? Somebody call our mama 90% of our mama's hoes. Okay.
My mama was married to my father, so that don't include me. Don't include me in that, girl.
My mama was married to my daddy too. You know what I mean? So maybe we're the 10%. I don't know. Not that. Yeah, calling our mamas a hoe, that's a different story. Turtle Dove, how you doing? Says, look, guys, Minnesota is no longer musty. Damn. Woo! Facts not feelings. You say he's dangerous. Okay. Quan says my father's side is from Uniontown, Pennsylvania, via Louisiana, then San Francisco after Vietnam. There you go. You know where your daddy from? Where you at? Yo, mom's a hoe. Hi, Top Rob. How you doing? He say FBA's to start populating now. We need families to grow. It ain't sexy. It ain't sexy.
But let's reverse that. Since these people believe in Sharia law and women not having rights and stuff, where are the feminists to come up and bring that stuff up?
I mean, it's just. I just thought about that. Your mom's a hoe. Yeah, I mean, there's levels to it or whatever the case is, but to me, at the end of the day, we got stuff we need to be focused on, right? I just want to know, honestly, I need to find this man now. I'm curious. It's like, where did you get that number from? 90% one night stands? That's man, you talking about being
that's a party that I wasn't invited to.
Wait a minute now. You talking about being a sharpshooter? 90% of us here in the one. Come on, it says we're here for 2 seconds. 90, and I suck in math. Okay, y'all, I know how I always feel about math. Donovan, you were a little better at math. You're a mechanic, a pilot. 90% of us are one night stands. That means that damn near 100% of the time that your mama was that one dude, that one time, it was one hit, that was it, and here you are. You know what I mean? And wait, come on, let's break it down to the ridiculous. Most of us got siblings. So did we all come here from that one night stand? Like, I got 4 siblings. Or did my mama have 4 one night stands? You see what I'm saying? I mean, since we're just going to talk about this man saying that we're the one night 90% would be
But-
like, how did that happen?
Yeah, but my thing is, in the modern age, if 90% of our women are doing that, what is 90% of their women doing? Their women are virtuous and all this other stuff?
They just don't talk about it, okay?
Hmm.
And
Exactly.
I don't know if that's what they do. I may be speaking too much, but in some cases, they be picking up rocks when they women are defiled, you know? I don't know if they do that in Somalia. I don't know if that's what they do over there, but yeah, I'm just saying this man that came up with a number. 90% of us one night stands. Man, some of our mamas, per what he's saying, trampolines.
Well, let's break it down to the fat meat. If that's the case, why are all these Somalis over here? If we're Sodom and Gomorrah and it's just a big orgy happening over here, and these are righteous, traditional Muslims, why are they over here? Why are they trying to come over here in droves? Why do they want to be here? Since we're the defiled.
They coming over here because they was invited and they were given incentive. I mean, I don't think that's a hard line of reasoning to follow, right?
Right. But what I'm saying is to say that our women and our hoes and all this other stuff, why would you want to be in a land full of hoes and sinful people?
Well, don't sound like they really are. They are, but they not, right? They got their own community and all of that. You know, they keeping the hoes out, I guess. I don't know. But listen, should I say it? Okay, I'm just having a conversation. If my mama a hoe, your mama's, she's in the 90%, right? What is Ilhan Omar? Oh, she got like 3 dudes she was married to. Then she cheated on her husband for the white dude she with.
It's supposed to be alleged that she married her brother.
Nah,
it's alleged. It's alleged.
I think they doing a lot of. See, y'all had me on the 3 husbands, but one of them being the brothers. Like, come on now. I mean, I don't know. Stranger things have happened, but if my mom was, my mom was R.I.P. was a virtuous woman. Okay, I'm just saying per what the imam was saying. What is Ilhan Omar? I mean, her hole has been visited by more than one man. I'm just saying, I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm just looking to see. Donovan, you got anything else before we get in trouble for real on here?
Well, I'm going to say this as we exit and we leave. If you have not attended your city council meetings, that's where it starts. Local politics matter. That's where all these people start their careers and they, move up and become multimillionaires in politics. I'm telling you guys, you don't have to physically attend your city council meeting. You've got smartphones. You've got free access public TV. You've got YouTube. There's no reason why you're living in a community or a town or a city and you don't know what's being built there and you don't know what's going on there. It's to me irresponsible to sit there and let the government take your money in taxes from you and you don't know where the money's going and what it's being spent on. This is why we're having problems finding all this money out here that is being abused and corrupted the way it is for other people's personal means. And then when we need things as citizens, there's no money because the money has to be diverted from other funds. And again, at the end of the day, the money that has been stolen, the money in all the welfare that has ever been paid in the United States does not add up to a $1 trillion military budget. That is theft of the American dollar. So again, you guys, we can argue all you want until you address the military industrial complex. That is where most of your money is going. It could pay, $1 trillion can pay for universal health care. It could pay for free education. It could pay for the debt of people who have educational debt. You need to get involved in these things. The stuff goes on because we allow it. Please get involved in your local politics. Don't tell me a damn thing about Donald Trump. A president in his second term doesn't have to do a damn thing. Because you guys remember a man called Obama? Supermajority, couldn't get black people reparations, did all this stuff for everybody else, got into a second term, ran on the fact that, hey, I'm sorry, I had all this to do. If you vote me in again, I'll do better. We vote him in again. didn't do a damn thing for black people, because guess what? He's out the damn door. Donald Trump is in the same situation. He don't give a damn at this point. So understand politics, know how it runs, and don't laugh at these Somalis. Don't laugh at these other groups. Learn from these other groups. If anything we can learn, they built a mini Somalia in their community, and they hold their representatives accountable to them. I'm done.
Amen and amen and hallelujah and all the glory. Yeah, I mean, it's just that simple, you know. Like I said, don't laugh, learn. Yeah, I don't know any Somalis. Like I said, that's not necessarily defensive. I'm just like, I've always said I wanted my platform for us to, you know, have some common sense. You know, let's think about things. Let's not be so ragey and go for the rage bait and godly. Like, I'm one of those people. I don't like to be angry. I'm just not an angry person. And a lot of times I just have to just not really be on the internet, like, because there's just so much anger going on. I'm not saying, you know, you shouldn't be concerned about things, but when you angry all the time, what does it do to your head and your heart and your body? You just break down. You're in a state of angst all the time. But when you become a thinker, you learn how to say, okay, I'll be concerned about that. I may be mad about that. I'm not going to really worry about that. Right? That man don't know 90% of Black Americans to even come up. So you see what I'm saying? So am I going to rage about that? Nah, you know, he'll get dealt with some way, somehow for lying up in the church, I'm assuming. But, you know, we don't do nothing about the pastors that lie in our church. But then I probably said too much. You know what I mean? We sit up in congregations and pastors has got 44, 99 kids with the whole motherboard, the deaconesses, the choirs with the men and the women, and a whole host of things. And we just, yes, Lord. Oh, no, my pastor wouldn't do that. So anyway, let me shut up before I get in trouble. Anyway, I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. We'll be back here tomorrow. Hopefully I think we'll be able to talk about something else. I'm currently exhausted about the Somalis. As I said, at the end of the day, Somalis they gonna get theirs. They gonna be held accountable, right? If 80 of them committed some fraud, you could best believe 80 of them going to jail if they haven't already, right? So anyway, hey, Jerron, how you doing? So Donovan is selling what I'm selling, same talking points. But that's what we should be talking about. Like you said, we know what the Somalis are doing in Minnesota, but you don't know what the city council is doing in your damn neighborhood. You don't even know what Neighborhood Watch doing in your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? But we know what the Somalis are doing in Minnesota. Anyway, let me get out of here. Love and appreciate every last one of y'all. At the end of the day, it's always love. So we'll see y'all tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Time. Peace.